Red-Eyed Tree Frog Painting on a Shirt Acrylic Painting Tutorial by HotPinkZebraPaper. Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you a t-shirt that I painted for my dad, actually for Father's Day. I've been hanging on to this video for a while, but it's just a blue t-shirt and then I painted a nice little red-eyed green tree frog on it, and it's something that we all love frogs around here, so it was something I've been thinking of doing for a while, so I hope you guys like it as much as I do, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well. So begin by lining your shirt with some kind of plastic to prevent the paint from bleeding through to the back. I use just a plastic shopping bag, and then pin whatever you have lining it in down, and then with some white fabric paint I'm going to be painting the base of my frog. So if you didn't go with some kind of a background, the color of the shirt is going to bleed through. So think of these paints as watercolor as far as the technique goes. So before you add a watercolor green on top of blue, which is going to give you teal, you want to add kind of a whiteout behind it. And I've been asked in a couple videos what my fabric paint recipe is. A lot of times I show it, but I was doing a whole bunch of these shirts all at once and I just forgot to videotape some of it. But the ratio is 1 part water to 1 part vegetable glycerin to 1 part, or to 2 parts paint. So you have like half of your water glycerin mix and then half water. And what the glycerin does is that it helps the paint stay flexible, so it feels just like the fabric pretty much, and it keeps it very soft and very washable, so it doesn't flake out in the washer and the dryer and all of that great stuff, and it just makes it so that it holds up to the test of time and is more comfortable. And you can find that vegetable glycerin in by like the antiseptic stuff and first aid, all of that, by hydrogen peroxide. And it comes like kind of a clear little jelly consistency. So after you have your little frog, so just go through and paint him down the shirt, and you can do this as large or as small as you want. My dad has a lot of his t-shirts where he wears them underneath like a sweater or a open-faced outer thing, and so I didn't want the frog to be too huge where it got covered up, so I made him a little smaller on the shirt so that he would either be able to cover it up if he didn't want it to show just on the blue, or have it so that it showed completely with whatever else he was wearing. So anyhoozle, I'm going to, after that white paint has dried, so let that dry, give it a while. That water and glycerin on top of the fabric makes it take a little bit longer than just normal acrylic paint to dry, so give it a couple hours maybe. If you feel it and it squishes at all, it's not dry yet. But then go through and with some green, very bright green fabric paint, start adding different layers of color to your froggy. And you'll see, even with the multi-layers on top of it, the fabric underneath will still absorb the paint. So if you, as you're painting it, it's not like painting on a canvas where the paint sits on top of the canvas. It has a layer of primer or gesso on it. It just kind of goes like a sponge and sucks it all in. So it's a little different experience. So be generous with the amount of paint on your brush because it doesn't go very far. So after you have that, then go through with a darker shade of green and start adding some shadowing on your frog. So it doesn't take too much, just a little bit. So this is a wet technique, so you're putting the darker green on top of the wet green fabric paint. And you'll see, same thing, it'll just kind of soak right in, but it'll add a really nice, very easy, effective blend as far as the shadowing goes. So you don't have to really blend it out too much, it just kind of does it on its own. Then I'm going to be filling in his toes with orange. And with your orange, depending on obviously what your paint is, my orange on its own just isn't quite as opaque as some of my other colors. So if you have a case like that, you can adjust your fabric paint recipe a little bit so that it gives you the effect that you want. Just know that the more paint versus water glycerin there is, the less flexible it is and the thicker it'll feel on the shirt. And in certain circumstances, you want, the color payoff is the most important thing. So you just have to balance all the pros and cons. After that, I put red for his eyes, and then I'm going to fill in the rest of his legs with blue, which doesn't show up all of that great compared to the blue of the color of the background of the shirt, which happens. But I did do some black outlining at the end, which made everything show up really, really well. So just go through and add all of those final little details, some more shadowing or shading if you want, then add your black details, do some outlining, do pupils, and with the black I did do some of it just with straight up paint, and I figured just for thin skinny little lines the lack of flexibility wouldn't be as noticeable, and it's true, it isn't. That part, if something was going to flake off the shirt or to crack, it is going to be this part of that's full strength, But it's the same thing. For me personally, I know that I did the same thing with I painted a watermelon shirt a while ago, and I can put a link to that video in the description box. But the black outlines are the part that is going to crack first, but it does give it kind of a nice, worn, weathered, almost intentionally lived in style. So I don't mind that personally. But here's a cute little froggy, my dad wearing it. He absolutely loved the shirt, so I hope you guys like it as much as he does, and don't forget to click subscribe, see all my future videos as well.